Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritualist Desert Church Sunday service. If you are live joining us on Zoom, remember that your microphones are muted throughout the service because we record this service for YouTube. And if you're viewing us on YouTube and would like a Zoom invitation to join us for future services, please send us an email request. Thank you for joining us today. We want to welcome everyone here physically on Zoom, later watching on YouTube, and all of those who've joined us today from the Spirit side of life. My name is Jen Rawson, and I'll be your chairperson today. I serve as a trustee on the board of Spiritualist Desert Church. I co-chair the pastoral committee, and I am an NSAC ordained minister. Joining us today for service will be the Reverend Bradley Gosslin delivering our sermon. Nola Bonecutter Vale will be leading us in a healing meditation, and the Reverend Betty Gosslin will be our message bearer this morning. Louise Barkdole and Paula Molino are acting as our Zoom moderators today. If you would now please just take a moment, center yourselves, focus and intention, and we'll open our service with an invocation. Infinite intelligence, we direct our thoughts in this hour we are together, asking that your spirit permeate our souls with love, harmony, peace, and joy of communing with like-minded people. We give thanks individually and as a spiritual community for all of our blessings. As we join together today, we welcome and express our gratitude to our spirit family, friends, and guides and teachers for their presence and their desire to demonstrate the continuity of life and love. Amen. Spiritualist Desert Church is a chartered member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, headquartered in Lilydale, New York. Our NSAC Spiritualist Manual provides us with the definitions of our religion, and I would like to share these definitions of spiritualism and being a spiritualist with you now. Spiritualism is the science, philosophy, and religion of continuous life based upon the demonstrated fact of communication by means of mediumship with those who live in the world. Spiritualism is a science because it investigates, analyzes, and classifies facts and manifestations demonstrated from the spirit's side of life. Spiritualism is a philosophy because it studies the laws of nature, both on the seen and unseen sides of life, and bases its conclusions upon present observed facts. It accepts statements of observed facts of past ages and conclusions drawn therefrom, when sustained by reason and by results of observed facts of the present day. Spiritualism is a religion because it strives to understand and to comply with the physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are the laws of God. A spiritualist is one who believes, as the basis of his or her religion, in the communication between this and the spirit world by means of mediumship, and who endeavors to mold his or her character and conduct in accordance with the highest teaching derived from such communication. As spiritualists, we have no dogmas or creeds, but we do have 9 principles that we strive to live by. If you would please join me now in declaring these principles. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. It is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, the Reverend Bradley Gosslin from Massachusetts. Brad is an ordained minister, national spiritualist teacher, and commissioned healer credentialed through the NSAC. He is also a previous trustee, vice president, and president of our National Board of Directors of the NSAC. Please join me in welcoming back the Reverend Brad Gosslin to Spiritualist Desert Church.
Thank you. Good morning. It's an honor to serve Spirit, and it's a privilege to serve the Spiritualist Desert Church. Today, I would like to draw a connection between the definition of a spiritualist and the seventh principle. The definition of a spiritualist is one who believes, as the basis of his or her religion, in communication between this and the world of spirit by means of mediumship, and endeavors to mold his or her character and conduct in accordance with the highest teachings received from such communication. Most speakers focus on the mediumship and communication part of that, but I want to focus on the second part that says endeavors to mold his or her character in accordance with the highest teachings received therefrom, and connect to the spiritual seventh principle that says we affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. Again, most focus on the happiness portion, but I want to focus on the first part. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual. Where do we get our moral responsibility? We get it from God. It is that part of each of us that is our God spark. That is God's love. It is about love. Love is not a finite emotion. We don't have only so much to share. Our hearts create love as we need it. Love truly is not a finite emotion. It can be generated spontaneously out of nothing at all. Aristotle said, what we repeatedly do, excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Love comes from God. Love is our moral foundation. Love is our habit. It is reinforced and built upon by those from the spirit side of life, which is why we endeavor to mold our character in accordance with the highest teachings from the world of spirit. Our declaration of principles reinforce the moral foundation every time we say them. It is spiritualism and the natural law that continually strengthen our moral base. In the moral teachings of spiritualism, Professor Alfred Russel Wallace wrote, "Man is a duality consisting of an organized spiritual form, evolved coincidentally with and permeating the physical body, and having corresponding organs and in development. Death is a separation of the duality and affects no change in the spirit, morally or intellectually. Progressive evolution of the intellectual and moral nature is the destiny of individuals. The knowledge, attainments, and experience of earth life forming the basis of spirit life. Spirits can communicate through properly endowed mediums. They are attracted by those they love or sympathize with and strive to warn, protect, and influence them for good by mental impressions when they cannot affect any more direct communication. But as follows them from cause, their communication will be fallible. and must be judged and tested just as we do those of our fellow man. A strong moral foundation is important in this day and age. With more and more books, movies, TV shows on afterlife, spirit world, spirit communication, and more people are turning away from the religion and churches. They deny the existence of a concept. Where do they find their moral base? Why deny the existence of the supreme power, God, or any other name? Is it ego, arrogance, or what that says we are all there is and there is nothing else? I remember a story told about Reverend Gladys Wisencroft, the former pastor of our former church. And it came from the late 60s, early 70s, when there was discussion about aliens and spacecraft. One night in class, her teacher came in through trance and was answering questions from the class. Excuse me. One member asked, "How can we help those from other planets?" The teacher answered, "My dear, of all the species in the universe, man is in the lower levels." How smart are we? Scientific experiments show how evolution works, but they cannot prove where life begins. They've studied the universe and used the Big Bang Theory, but they cannot explain how it happened and why everything is in such balance. They explain and define natural laws, but cannot explain how they came to be so precise. For centuries, man received his moral base, his work concept from churches, from religion, the Bible, and other sacred texts. And although not all followed them, these moral standards, most did. Today, where are those who turn away from God, from religious texts, find their moral base, a foundation to build upon? If one denies Christianity and the 10 Commandments, for example, do not steal, no longer applies to them, then is to steal all right? We see from government, business, and others that it is okay to steal and cheat. They say it is only cheating when you get caught. Is that our world? Is that a world I want? Is that a world we are comfortable with? Does the commandment "do not kill" apply? Killings and violence throughout the world at this time would indicate it does not apply. On a higher level, does that concept only matter if you are caught? Many seem to think so. In 1887, Professor Wallace wrote, "If a man lives, shall he die again?" He wrote, "If all men without exception came to believe that there is no life beyond this life, if children were all brought up to believe the only happiness they can ever enjoy will be upon earth, then it seems to me that the condition of man would be altogether hopeless, because there would cease to be any adequate motive for justice, for truth, for unselfishness. Why should man not systematically seek his own personal welfare at the cost of others? Was Professor Wallace right? Have we as a world reached the point of selfishness? Is love of fellow man lost? Professor Wallace also wrote in the Moral Teachings of Spiritualism in 1874. It gives a rational account of various phenomena in human history, which physical science has been able to explain and has therefore rejected or ignored. We derive from some definite information as to man's destiny and nature, and found on this an ethical system of great practical efficacy. He explains, it is no small thing that the spiritualist finds himself able to rehabilitate. Spiritualism allows us to believe that the oracles of antiquity were not all impostors. Both the Old and the New Testament are full of spiritualism. They recently discussed the question of the efficacy of prayer as a final solution by spiritualism. Prayers may not often be It's the way we do. Prayer may not often answered through, no, not directly by the deity. As spiritualists, we know better. We know through healing and prayer, this world will survive and find its moral compass. Although temporarily tilted, it will be righted and morality will triumph. Spirit and spiritualism will lead the way. As spiritualists, we have a strong moral foundation, strengthened each day through prayer, meditation, and knowledge of the physical and spiritual laws. Spiritualism is more than a religion. It is a way of life. Spiritualism is a way of life of dedication, a habit. Each day is a clean slate, an opportunity to reform and to grow. We have a moral foundation, we have a moral base. Expand on it, share it, and may the love of God and Spirit fill your heart forever. That's it.
Thank you, Brad, for serving our church this morning. This is the time in our service for our love offering, followed by our announcements. If you would please join me now in our offertory prayer. Infinite intelligence, we accept these gifts of love that will help us in continuing to deliver the messages of spiritualism. We ask your blessings upon these gifts, the givers of them, and all who seek to assist us in keeping this church as a lighthouse for the seekers of truth. Amen. We continue to accept love donations by cash or check to the address that's coming up on your screen. We also have PayPal available through the link displayed there or on our website. There's a button on there. And thank you so much for your continued support of Spiritualist Desert Church. There's also a link in the chat box if you want to do it that way. Our church continues to remain active while physically closed due to the ongoing pandemic. Our board of directors and the pastoral committee are available if you have need of assistance, if you have questions about anything, or if you're interested in membership. Please reach out to us via any of the methods listed there. In addition, our weekly newsletter also has contact information on the last page. If you would like to be added to our email list, please let us know. And recordings of all of our services, since we've started them on Zoom, are available on YouTube. All you have to do is search Spiritualist Desert Church and they'll all pop up there. As a note, today is the second Sunday in August. It is Spiritual Science Day. If you want to make a donation that you want specifically to go to the scientific research of spiritualism, please notate that on your donation today, and we will make sure that those dedicated funds get there. This is the Sunday that we remember all of those brave individuals that were pioneers and founders of our religion, who put their careers and reputations on the line to scientifically investigate the phenomena displayed and demonstrated from the spirit side of life. Also, another note, don't forget that the 11th of August is Andrew Jackson Davis's birthday. So say happy birthday to Andrew Jackson Davis. And next week, our speaker will be the Reverend Vicki Holman here from Spiritualist Desert Church. As we begin the healing portion of our service, we would like to invite you to join us in a meditation led by Nola Bonecutter Vale. Nola is a longtime member of Spiritualist Desert Church, now residing in Pennsylvania, but thanks to the wonders of Zoom, can join us here on Sunday mornings. Please join me now in the prayer for spiritualist healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Amen. And now Nola will lead our guided meditation.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our service today. As we turn our minds toward healing, The healing light of God already begins to form around us. There's very little we have to do beyond turning our minds toward healing. So if we'll just close our eyes, breathe easily, allow your mind to follow the healing. Allow your mind to follow your breathing. Allow your mind to experience the healing light of God gathering around you. As it gathers around you, it also enters the top of your head and flows down through your body. And as it does, everything lightens. Everything begins to relax. Your breathing is easier. Your mind is easier. It's as if our vibration rises up automatically to meet the healing energy of God surrounding us. It comes in any form, sometimes sparkling light. Sometimes we just feel it as our body relaxes and our vibration raises. As we gather this energy around us, allow yourself to add your own love to that healing God energy. Add your love. And as you gather the healing around you, add your love of self, your relatives, and life itself. Just enjoy the energy for a moment. As we gather the energy, it becomes greater and greater and greater until we're able to just ripple it out of ourselves, send it out to everyone who's here, to all those we know who need our healing energy, to the people on our healing list, to those in the country who need our healing, and allow it to ripple out. Ask that the rippling continue out infinitum, out to the country, out to the world, out to the universe as we know it can. Now we can feel the gathering of energy coming up to us from the earth. It enters through the bottom of our feet into our body, and it intermixes with the love and healing we have going on inside us. Take a deep breath. Allow the energy to swirl around us. This energy rejuvenates us, gives us energy for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week. As we bring ourselves back to the room, just know that any time you need healing during the week, you need only turn your mind to it. And the vibration begins to raise and come to us. So you can now bring yourself back, breathing more easily than you did before we started. Relaxed, feeling good. Bring yourself back to the room. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Nola. We continue to maintain our healing list and send out absent healing prayers on a daily basis. If you wish to add someone to that list, please send us an email request with their first name only, please, and include your pets because we all know they're family members too. We now move into the message portion of our service. Our message medium this morning will be the Reverend Bradley Gosslin. Betty is an ordained minister, a national spiritualist teacher, and a certified medium credentialed through the NSAC. By definition, a medium is one whose organism is sensitive to vibrations from the spirit world and through whose instrumentality intelligences in that world are able to convey messages and produce the phenomena of spiritualism. A medium proves the continuity of life through evidence provided by spirit. Please understand that all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums. A psychic reads your energy or your aura. A medium brings through someone who has lived here on the earth plane. It's also important to remember that a medium is not a medical doctor and will not diagnose or prescribe. And please be aware that although we record our service for YouTube, the message portion of the service is edited out and not posted on that platform for privacy concerns. At this time, we'd like to invite the Reverend Brad Gosslin back to close our service with a benediction. If you
Infinite intelligence, as we close this service, we give thanks for the words we have heard, the messages we have received. We give thanks for your presence. We ask our blessings on this congregation and on those who could not be with us today. And we ask to be under your love, guidance, and protection until we meet again. Amen.
Thank you for joining us today. Please remember to keep all the frontline workers who are still fighting this pandemic in your prayers and meditations this week. And please remain on Zoom for our virtual fellowship. Louise and Paula is going to unmute all of us and we can visit together. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you again.